All right, so for those of you who've just joined us, my name is Amy Robertson. I'm an extension educator in northern Idaho, up in Boundary County. And today we have Lance Hansen, who is going to be doing our presentation.
So we're gonna do some pizza dough today, and it's super simple, super easy recipe to follow. It doesn't involve a whole lot of ingredients. We got some, so we have some water, some flour, some yeast, and some honey. So let's get started with this. Mix the dough real quick. So pizza dough is relatively easy. It's learning all the tips and tricks to get it to turn out right. So we're gonna go over all those things real quick today. Okay, that honey mixed in there. We're gonna let that proof a bit, and then we're gonna go back over to this other screen. I'm gonna go over a few more things. All right. First thing, let's get this oven as hot as it'll go. So most conventional ovens will go anywhere from 550 degrees to 600 degrees. That's kind of the biggest important tip when it comes to cooking pizza dough, is that. So this recipe, super simple. So we got the yeast, we got the water, we got the honey, and we got 4 cups of flour. So the biggest thing, this recipe calls for 5 cups. Just start with 4. As you mix through, you're gonna find out you're not gonna use that 5th cup until it comes to rolling out the pizza dough. But keep it on the side just in case you need it as you're mixing it, because you want it to end up feeling just right. A little bit tacky, but not so much. So let's put in 4 cups of flour. We're just gonna start just mixing that. Okay. Now I'm gonna add in my teaspoon and a half of salt. And since I like flavor, and this is not in the recipe, you can do what you want. I have some salad supreme seasoning and some garlic salt. So as that rises and it proofs, it's just going to add some good flavor to your dough. And this is the fun part. You just got to work through it. Normally you'd let your yeast activate a little bit longer, but it's not such a big deal when you. So for proofing this, you want it to proof for about, I like to do it the night before and then eat it the next night. So almost 24 hours. There are some other tips and tricks. Another tip I can share with you in just a minute here after I get this mixed. Well, I can talk about it right now. You can turn one of your ovens into a proofing oven. I'll show you that in a minute. And it takes about 2 hours and you get a pretty good rise on your dough and it'll turn out really good. All right. So one of the good things about this pizza dough is you can store it in the freezer after you get done making it. You're still good to go. Like I said, I just like to plan ahead, get up, or before I go to bed, make the dough, and let it proof overnight. Or you could do it just the morning before you take off. Like I said, that dough's ready. It doesn't take that long to mix, and you just doing it all by hand. Then it's less things to clean up. Okay. One of the things I learned too is you're going to see a lot of pizza doughs that say, "Hey, you need to use some type of oil." It doesn't. Those air pockets that we like, and have just that chew and that crunch. When you put oil in there, those air pockets disappear. So if you exclude the oil, olive oil or whatever from your recipe, this makes for a better pizza dough. Okay, so that's our dough. It's a little tacky, still really good. I went ahead and I bought a bunch of these containers because I hate putting them in plastic bags. So I put a little olive oil on the bottom, and I'm going to let that sit overnight. Okay. All right. So that'll sit overnight, and it's going to look something like that. All right. I did that yesterday evening. This is just half of it. The other one is cooked over here. I'm going to tell you about this one. This is one I did about 2 hours ago. So I did this one 2 hours ago. I made my bottom oven into a proofing oven. And it looks like that. Looks about like that. It's nice and soft, really pliable. It's a good, nice dough. And the way you do that is on your oven, you just put a glass pan down there that's can be put in the oven without cracking or anything, just like I cook casserole pot. Put boiling water in there, turn your oven on until it gets about 200 degrees, and then turn it off, and then let it cool down a bit, and then you stick your dough in there in a bowl with saran wrap on it, and it acts as a proofing oven. So I got that to proof quite quickly. So it's nice, soft, it's ready to go. All right. Now we get to the fun part. We can roll the dough out. So that's nice and super light, super soft. And it makes just a wonderful, like I said, it's the proofing really gives you a lot of good flavor in your dough, along with adding some garlic salt, some other things. So roll this out real quick. And you want it just, it should be nice and light and soft. Just as you push it down, you can feel it. Okay. I'm not so awesome that I can hand toss it. I wish I was, but not yet. I'm still working on it. So you just get them rolled out. Makes about a 16 if you want inch pizza. If you want it to be bigger and have thinner crust, just roll it out a little bit more. You just keep on working it. It's really not that hard to roll out. My cookie sheet that I'm rolling out on is just sliding around. That's okay. And if you have questions, put them in the chat box while I'm doing any of this.
Lance, we have one.
Go ahead.
So Karen says that she's expecting a surprise delivery at her door, and she's asking if when this session ends. Okay.
So it'll be 20 minutes when this session ends. They do record these, so you can come back and watch them anytime you want. They edit them out and everything. So you'll have this there. The recipe, I think everyone should have this. The great thing about this recipe, it costs about $1.40, maybe $1.50. And a lot of people ask about different kinds of flours. You know, you get to some like flours that are especially for pizza dough and stuff like that. It just makes for lighter dough. And this one that I use today is a bread flour. I just like it. I never have ever used 5 cups of flour when using the bread dough. It just makes for a chewy crust as you bite into it. And there's another trick I'm going to share with you in just a minute about how to make these just better. So just poking some holes in the dough. So it doesn't like pull apart and make one big old fluffy biscuit type thing. And what I'm using, I just have a well-used pizza pan that people have said, hey, why don't you use a cooking stove and all of that? My oven does not get hot enough to make it to where when I slide it in on a pizza stone, because you want a pizza stone in the oven, you want it really hot, it just doesn't get hot enough, and the pizza, the dough just doesn't slide on like I want. So I just get these these pizza pans that have holes in them. Okay. All right, so my oven's at 550. I'm gonna stick that in there. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. There is some times on there. What I've found is you just kind of have to sit there and watch it because it cooks really fast. When you go to a pizzeria, their pizza ovens are like 1200 degrees. They're really hot. Why they can run through so quick and cook it so fast is their ovens are just super hot. Well, my oven is not that cool. I wish it was. It'd be nice in the wintertime too. I'm here in Rexford. I'm an extension educator in Madison County, and it's cold here in the wintertime. If I had a 1200 degree oven to help heat my house, I'd be cooking pizza all the time. All right, so I'm just going to watch that, and this is what it looks like. I just put it in and I crisped it up on both sides. See that, where I poked holes in it? And I actually flipped this one over. So what you're going to find on your oven, there's one, either the top or the bottom. Top or the bottom is going to be hot. So if it heats up and it browns on the bottom, then you'll want to flip it, put that up, so because you'll know the bottom will cook faster than the top. So you just got to pay attention to your oven. All right, now is the fun part. While one pizza's going, and we can put together another one. All right, I did my sauces and everything earlier. So I made a pizza sauce. I used just some sweet tomatoes, tomato sauce, Italian seasonings, and a few different things. All right. The great thing about pizza is you can kind of do what you want on them. I like about anything. But the real trick is keep an eye on that oven. So I'm going to go check that really quick. See what it's starting to look like. You see it's starting to bubble up a bit there. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. And when it starts to go brown on top, I'll pull that one out and put this other one back in. All right. We're going to do some pepperoni. All right. There's also a thing too. It depends on your preference here. Is do you like your toppings on top of the cheese or under the cheese? Well, I like mine under the cheese. I don't like my pepperonis burnt and crispy, so I like to do it this way. And the great part about doing this at home, the dough is $1.40. You get two pizzas about this size for $1.50. And then, you add your pepperoni anywhere from $4 to $5 for a pack. And then you could probably make 3 pizzas with that. And then I have some colleagues helping me here. And I forgot one of them doesn't like pepperoni. Shame on them. But oops. I got plenty of dough, so they'll get what they need later. I got plenty of pizza. Okay. I'm just going to do this one with some cream, some olives. And all said and done, you're saving money by doing this, just by doing some meal planning and planning ahead. I've also used this recipe to do, those breakfast bundles at Maverick. I just cook my eggs, get a hash brown, get that all cooked up, wrap it up, and do it on low about 350 for 20 minutes. And it turns out to be a really good breakfast bundle. They freeze good as well. You can just heat them up in the microwave. So I've done that. So it's pretty versatile dough, super simple, and it just takes a little work. With a little practice, you can be good at it. And the big thing is watching the pizza dough while you're cooking. So see right there, I got that nice brown on there. I'm going to push out some of that steam. And then flip this over so you get an idea. So right there, you can see that the top cooks faster than the bottom. So I'm going to put the bottom down because I know it's not going to cook as fast. I'll top this one in just a minute here. Set this one to the side. All right, what else we put on this? Oh, one of the other things I found over the years trying to make good pizza at home is this happens to be a Anaheim or a hatch chili pepper. And it just adds just a little bit of heat, not too much, but it just makes for a good pizza, a good topping for the pizza. My wife doesn't like onions, so I don't put onions on the Supreme. Cheese filling. I'll show you the finished product in just a minute here. So that double cooking is what really helps it out. And I'll show you that when we cut into this one in just a minute.
So Lance, we had
Like I said, it's a preference on whether you like the toppings under or on top of your cheese. A little bit. Okay, so this one's cooled down. We'll get this one in. I just cook it until the cheese starts to boil and get a little brown on top. All right. Get this other one over here. A little different, something different with this one. Okay. Just remember to be safe. Make sure you have your own pads. You don't burn yourself. All right. So I made Alfredo sauce. Just butter, cream, Parmesan cheese. Made it pretty light, so it spreads easy. I'm going to do chicken on this one with some bacon. Bacon I did earlier. And some artichokes. And that onion you see there next to it. So anybody can make really nice homemade pizza at home. It's not hard. Start with the artichokes. Put them all over the place. And these are just canned artichokes. I wish they were fresh, but I didn't have that much time to prepare today. So we're getting the canned ones. They're still good though. Still turns out really good. It'll be a really good pizza. A few onions on there. Just a red onion. All right. Got some bacon bits, and I'm going to put a lot of bacon bits on there because I can, and I like bacon. So I just pre-cooked the bacon, diced it up, got it ready for the day. Got some chicken. I'm going to put some cheese on this, and we're going to go back to this other pizza to check these out. Okay. Go down a little time on that. And keep an eye on it. All right, keep on here. Anyway. Okay. So we got a lot of toppings on there. That should be great. Hands on it. Add some pepper flakes to this one. Now put some cheese on there. And this one will be ready to go. All right. I mean, once again, it's that process of making sure that dough gets cooked enough, getting that oven up to temperature, as hot as yours will go. Once again, I'll just remind everyone it's that 550 to 600 range. And check getting that dough cooked enough so you don't end up with a soggy, sloppy piece of pizza. When I say soggy, it's no fun eating pizza that's doughy in the middle. When you bite into it, you want to have a little bit of a crunch on the bottom half there, and you just want it to be fun to eat instead of like, ew. So this should be, if you're doing a lot of pizza at home, if you want to try this, that's the real trick to it, is that oven temperature and watching it. So we're going to go back to the oven again. Make sure it's in good shape. So it didn't take long for that to cook. Get in close here. So it's just nice and brown on top. The edges are brown, all ready and everything. We'll let this cool down over here. We'll get this other one in. And the best way to do it is just to cook one at a time. Don't try to slam too many pieces in there. This ends up being a lot of work. Does anybody have any questions right now, or we're waiting for that to cool down so I can get that cut for you, everybody?
So Lance, we've had a few questions come through. The first one is, can you use a gluten-free flour and use your pizza dough recipe?
I would always encourage everyone to try that. I've never done it with gluten-free flour. Give it a try. Just know it's just going to come out a little bit different. You should be able to follow the same recipe. When you do start to mix your gluten-free flour in with the water, just do it a cup at a time until you get the right consistency.
And then another question is, can you freeze these crusts after they're half baked?
That is what I recommend doing versus putting them in Ziploc bags and freezing them, because I've done it both ways. It's better to freeze the crust, let them defrost, and then cook them. Or you can just put the dough in the freezer and let it sit there. I've had it in the freezer up to a month and pulled it out. The big trick with that, if you just want to freeze the dough, if you want to make a couple of batches, to make sure you pull it out and put it in the fridge for at least 24 hours, or I'd say longer than that. Pull it out a couple of days before, so defrost in the fridge, and then let it sit put it in a proofing container and let it proof on your counter for at least 2 to 3 hours before you cook it. So the dough is not like frozen. And that's one of the biggest things, or it's really cold from being in the refrigerator. So with this dough, it does rise if it's just in the refrigerator, and you can have it in the refrigerator up to 4 days, and it'll slow that process down. If you just want to, like I said, just plan to do the dough in the morning, leave it on the counter, like you can see back here. This is what I generally do. And right now it's risen up to the size of that one dough ball that I pulled out, and that'll rise up to be about two portions. But yeah, you can either freeze it in a Ziploc bag like this, or cook them and then freeze them. Either way. Any other questions?
I'm not seeing any others right now.
Okay. Another big thing too is your sauce. Find a sauce that either buy it canned, pre-done, or experiment a little bit. What I did is I have some Italian stewed tomatoes. I put them on the stove, a can of tomato sauce, garlic seasoning, pepper flakes, salt, and some Italian seasoning. I also found this seasoning. There's a couple different brands. It's Perfect Salad Supreme, and it's good on pizza and pizza dough in the sauce. It's my new favorite seasoning to put on everything. I don't know why, but it just has a good flavor, and it just ends up working really good with pizza. All right.
There's another question. It says, what was the red seasoning he put in the dough?
Say that one more time.
What was the red seasoning he put in the dough?
Oh, that red seasoning, that was this salad supreme. And I stuck a little garlic salt and just regular salt. And I do that. So this crust right here, I didn't do that in its first two. This other batch, what I mixed earlier, that has that salad supreme in it and some Italian. Or no, not just has salad supreme and garlic salt. No Italian. Italian's in the sauce. But see how that dough is just nice and light? And I'll make some more pizzas with that after we're done here. So sorry you're gonna miss out on pizza party, everybody. But tomorrow night, if you followed along and did this or have the recipe, try it out. Put it in a container, cover it with saran wrap if you don't have one with the lid. And then try that tomorrow night. And what I've had the best success with the conventional oven are these pizza pans that have holes in them. So I'll pull one down that I didn't use. So everyone can see. All right. So just something like that. It's about 14, 15 bucks. Just has those holes through it. It just allows that air to flow through. All right, let's go back to this pizza. Make sure we're okay. Okay. So, another pizza right there. You just got to keep an eye on it. That's the biggest thing. People forget. One of the things when I'm cooking, doing a lot of these, sometimes I forget. They get a little more crunchy than I want, but it turns out pretty good. Let me get my pizza cutter out and let's cut this thing and see if we can hear how it crunches. Okay, everyone quiet. Let's see if we can hear it crunch. I don't know if anyone can hear that, but it sounded really good. So you let your pizza cool. I like to do that so your cheese, it's cool to see it spread apart like that, the cheese and stuff. And that also has to do with the fact that I bought pre-grated cheese. If you're grating your own cheese, you're going to get that nice, when you pull off that slice of pizza, all the strings of cheese are going to pull off. If you're using pre-grated cheese, it looks more like this. Okay.
Questions. First one was, how do you watch this recording again?
So I'll have straight explain where they're putting those afterwards, but we're gonna they'll edit it out a bit, and it should turn out really good. Okay. All right, one of the hallmarks of pizza, according to professionals that do this all the time, is when you pick up your slice. You don't want it to bend like when you grab it. You want it to bend a little bit, but not so much. All right, because you'll see ones when you grab it at the end, it's just super floppy. So it's crispy on the bottom still. It's all holding together nice. So that makes for a good pizza. My toppings aren't sliding off. So that's pizza dough made easy. And 100 different ways. You can think of 100 different ways to do this. Just find your toppings you like. I hope all these tips and tricks helped you guys out tonight. If you have questions, you can email me. My email address is lancehansen@uidaho.edu. And I can share any tips and tricks about making pizza that I know. I've learned a lot over the years to try to get them to look nice and to taste really good. That's the part I wish I could share with everybody, the smell and, yeah, my mouth's watering right now, just so you know, but just the smell and how it tastes. So please, be adventurous, try this out at home. Find a sauce that you like, be adventurous with your seasonings, and everyone should have a copy of that recipe. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. If you have questions, please ask them right now, and we'll get them answered for you.
All right, well, we are out of time. So I believe Serene put Lance's email in the chat. So if you do have other questions, please reach out to him. And thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to see you in the future.